Panel session there on market overview. Can you just recap what your thoughts are on the UK market and now sort of up till now and then going forward?
Yeah, and the market over the last year, we look at the market through three lenses: property, infrastructure and natural resources. In the natural resources world, we've seen continued decline in commodities prices in oil and gas and mining, and that's had a significant effect in terms of major oil and gas and mining projects, and it's also had an effect on those companies that have been that deliver those projects, the major national oil companies. And that's had an effect on the property market as well, with their consolidation and focus on containing costs. We're also seeing that a number of the commodity-based countries like Russia, Middle East, and a continent in terms of Africa, are also consolidating in terms of that they don't have the investment funds that they have had in the past. So that's affected inward investment into the UK. In the UK, we've seen some effect as a result of Brexit. I have to say that's been very modest, much more modest than perhaps we might have initially expected after the Brexit vote. But we do see that an effect in Brexit is potentially still with us over the course of the next 2 years until the process of Brexit is fully complete.
Have you any sense of how long the Brexit effect might last? Do you think it will be a very short-term thing, or would it potentially be a more medium-term?
Well, we know the process is going to take just over 2 years, so I would expect that there could be some lack of certainty and disruption, if you like, to the marketplace during the course of the next two years. I think Brexit's likely to affect the property market. I don't think it will have the same impact in the infrastructure market, and I'm really delighted that the new government has shown good leadership in terms of setting out clear strategy around the deliverability of some of the major infrastructure projects. So what I'd call the 4 H's: High Speed 2, Hinkley Point C, Heathrow, and highways. There's clearly a commitment to spend. So if there is a disruption to the property market, hopefully it's compensated by continuing investment in property.
So speaking more broadly as well, what other threats or opportunities do you see for the UK market going forward, both domestically and in foreign terms, especially in light of what you said about the commodity-based economies around the world?
Yeah, I think in terms of the UK, I think the low commodity prices is likely to continue in the medium term. We'll maybe see some creeping up of those commodity prices, so the situation might ease up slightly, but generally there's not going to be the investment in those big oil and gas projects, I don't think, in the next year that we've seen in the past. And obviously we've got quite an industry out there designing and doing the engineering for those big projects, so that will have an effect. I think the infrastructure market, as I've said before, I think will continue forward at pace. Property market, I think one of the things we've seen that's changed in London in the last 10 years is a significant investment in high-rise residential. That market's been very hot over the course of the last few years. I think with some of the uncertainty associated with Brexit, some of the fact that the residential market has just got to its peak anyway, it's got to a natural pause point, I think, will result in a reduction in terms of the investment in those types of products. Hopefully the residential market will have a soft landing and not hard landing, but we'll have to wait and see how that all turns out.
And just finally, how are you enjoying the conference so far? What are you particularly looking forward to over the course of a couple of days?
Conference is great because it's a time to reflect and share knowledge and listen to other people and their perceptions of life. So it's nice to have time to do that important thing rather than the day-to-day business issues which are so urgent. I think the other thing that perhaps the other point I'd just like to make is that I still see a huge amount of opportunity both globally and in the UK. I don't see us suddenly walking off the end of a cliff or having any kind of major event which is going to completely derail us. I think there are activities that are going out there in the marketplace which is causing some uncertainty, and none of us like uncertainty. But generally, I think certainly with our business, we ride those 3 cycles of natural resources, property and infrastructure, and we naturally expect there to be highs and lows through the cycles of those different sectors.